Hello everyone. Today's video is about the Tibetan Book of the Dead and the Buddhist Cycle of Rebirth. If you enjoy deep philosophy and wisdom that can illuminate everyday life, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications so we can continue this journey together. The focus of today's talk is the Tibetan Book of the Dead, known in Tibetan as Bardo Thödol, which literally means the book that liberates you at the moment of death. This ancient text is one of Tibetan Buddhism's most mysterious and profound teachings. It guides the consciousness through the state between death and rebirth, a realm known as the Bardo, the in-between. The Bardo Thödol describes three stages of this intermediate world, the first of which is Chikhai Bardo, the moment of death itself. In this stage, as the body fades and the consciousness separates, every being briefly encounters the clear light, the radiant brilliance of one's true nature. If the soul recognizes this light as its own essence, its Buddha nature, it can achieve liberation instantly. But most beings turn away, overwhelmed by fear, attachment, and confusion. This fear is not fear of the light, but fear of the collapse of the ego, a deep instinctive resistance to what feels like absolute nothingness. Here the teaching of the four fearlessnesses becomes essential. These are the four states in which Buddhas and Bodhisattvas remain utterly without fear. Fearlessness born from knowing reality as it is, speaking truth without distortion, having no doubt about one's awakening, and guiding all beings with perfect understanding. Only a mind that has cultivated such fearlessness can recognize the clear light without running from it. Those who turn away remain trapped in the cycle of fear, still wandering in the realm of beings who have not yet awakened. And so the message of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is this: even at the moment of death, only a heart trained to meet truth without fear can recognize liberation. It is the wisdom of fearlessness, a practice we must cultivate throughout life, so that when death arrives, we are able to meet the light and know it as our own. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the second stage, known as Chikhai Bardo, is the period after death when, for about 49 days, the consciousness has left the body and begins to encounter visions and projections. During this time, the soul meets wrathful deities, peaceful deities in strange, otherworldly forms. Yet none of these are external beings, but simply projections of one's own karma, desires, and inner consciousness. A key line reveals this truth: mind-born appearances are illusions, not reality. A core teaching of Yogacara Buddhism. According to this doctrine, everything we see, hear, and feel is not an independent external reality, but an image generated by consciousness itself. The world is a mirror of the mind, and every form reflected in that mirror is the world we believe we are experiencing. Therefore, at one, the wrathful deities, the terrifying shapes, the heavenly lights, even the celestial music encountered in Chikhai Bardo, are nothing more than shadows cast by the mind itself. If the soul mistakes these visions for literal beings and reacts with fear, desire, or confusion, the consciousness is pulled toward darker realms and into the next cycle of rebirth. But if one realizes that these appearances are only mind-made illusions, the fear dissolves, and the soul can return to the clear light and move toward liberation. The second stage of the Bardo teaches us this. The terrifying deities you meet after death are not others. They are reflections of your own mind. Do not fear them. Recognize them as yourself. This is the practical meaning of that ancient phrase: mind-born visions or illusions. If even the world after death is shaped by the mind, then the suffering we face in life is also a kind of illusion, a passing projection. And when we truly see this, we begin to touch a peace that transcends life and death. The final stage of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is the Chikhai Bardo, the realm of becoming, the threshold of rebirth. When we connect this stage to the ancient Buddhist principle, evil deeds lead to the three lower realms, good deeds lead to higher realms. We begin to see the core of the Buddhist view on reincarnation. Chikhai Bardo, the third and last stage, is the moment right before the soul enters its next life. Here consciousness is pulled toward its future birth, shaped entirely by the weight of its past actions, its kindness, its harm, its intentions. The text gives a stark warning. Your karma determines your next life. Neither fear nor gods nor saviors can replace your deeds. Only your mind and your actions light your path. This teaching is summarized in an old Buddhist law. Evil karma sinks you into the three lower realms. Good karma leads you to the realms of well-being. The Buddhist law of cause and effect in the cycle of rebirth. Those who create harmful karma fall into the three lower realms. First, the hell realm, a domain of intense suffering, reserved for souls burdened with grave wrongdoing. It is a world where one must confront the full weight of one's actions until liberation becomes possible. Second, the hungry ghost realm, where beings live with endless craving, a huge stomach, a needle-thin throat, forever searching yet never satisfied. Third, the animal realm, a world of instinct, ignorance, and struggle. Here beings live as animals, insects, birds, fish, bound by the consequences of past actions that clouded wisdom and compassion. On the other hand, those who cultivate wholesome karma rise into the three higher realms. First, the heavenly realm, a world of divine beings who enjoy ease and bliss, born there through the power of accumulated virtue and merit. It is one of the six paths of rebirth, a realm shaped by goodness, clarity, and compassionate action. Second, the human realm, the realm we know so well. In Buddhism, this is considered one of the most precious births because humans experience both joy and suffering, giving them the perfect balance to seek wisdom and transform their karma. Third, the Asura realm, a turbulent world filled with conflict and war. Those reborn here are powerful, proud, fiercely competitive, beings who possess both virtue and anger, and must learn truth through struggle and rivalry. All of these realms are not created by an external judge or divine court, but by one's own actions. In other words, Shorty Barnes, the map of rebirth is drawn by your own hand. The teaching of the Chikhai Bardo is not merely a doctrine about the afterlife, but a reminder that this present moment is the seed of your next life. Rebirth does not happen only after death. It is happening now. In every thought, every intention, every action, a single unwholesome thought opens the door to suffering. Greed enlarges the hunger of the hungry ghost, while wisdom and compassion open the gates of the human and heavenly realms. The Tibetan Book of the Dead tells us, rebirth is not a distant future. Your mind is choosing the path in every passing moment. Thus, its final message becomes clear. Every thought you form, every word you speak, every action you take becomes the road into your next life. Hell, human, heaven, the key to each world, is already in your mind. At its heart, the sacred text is an education in death, a teaching that only the one who understands death can truly understand life. The Tibetan Book of the Dead is not merely a guide for the dead, but a manual of awakening for every living person. When we recognize our original mind, the inner radiant light that has always been there, we discover a freedom that continues even beyond death. A doorway to what Tibetan masters call liberation. The Tibetan Book of the Dead was introduced to the West in the early 20th century, and it deeply influenced psychologist Carl Jung, shaping how modern psychology understands the unconscious. Today it is used in near-death experience research, in contemplative death practices, and in dialogues where science and philosophy meet to explore the afterlife. In this series, Turfanin is to be, we will gently walk through each Bardo stage, the Buddhist teachings on rebirth, and the philosophy of freedom that emerges when we face death with awareness. If you seek a deeper meaning to life, if you wish to explore the truth beyond death, I invite you to walk this journey with us. In our next session, we will explore the first Bardo, the moment of death and the experience of radiant light. Thank you truly for being here.